Yo, what is up, Madden Elite? Bradley here, and we are coming at it with a weekly recap from around the league. Um, Diving into these weekly recaps until the Madden Companion app is up and running. They might be a little complicated, might not be as easy as stuff like this normally is. We are definitely working a little bit handicapped without the companion app. So I don't know what Madden is thinking. Last I heard, I believe the companion app is staged on the app stores. So it sounds like they just need like final approval from the app stores, and they should be operational. I've also heard that the apps are supposed to be operational early October. I don't know how accurate that information is, but that is what I have heard through the grapevine. And it seems like those two bits of information would be a little bit conflicting. In one breath, like I've been told that they're staged and just waiting for approval. In the other breath, I've heard that we're looking at early October. So, and I mean, I also don't know how long that staging process takes place. I don't know. I don't know. So, sounds like wheels are in motion. So hopefully, the companion app is up and operational. It handicaps making content like this, and ultimately just handicaps the league. I don't know what EA is spanking, right? Like they've been preaching for multiple cycles now that they are backing the CFM community. They are behind the CFM community. But yet here they are taking away probably our most powerful tool. I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, I am appreciative of the chance to work with Madden Elite again here moving into this new cycle of Madden. This past Tuesday, we ran a commentary stream during kind of like week one of the new cycle kickoff. And the plan moving forward, every Tuesday night, we will be doing commentary for Madden Elite. So I'm very excited for that. If you if you end up being one of the games in the mix of commentary, a couple kind of logistic points before we really dive into things that we're going to be looking at today. If you end up being one of the games in the mix of that, it's a super easy process. I'll probably end up throwing you, the guy you're playing, and probably Bread all into a group message. Just kind of for communication, because like communication is everything. I'll end up pulling in the stream feed of whoever is streaming, and I would ask during the commentary, you basically just turn off the in-game commentary, right? Because that's problematic. If the in-game commentary is going on and then I'm commentating over it, it gets a little bit messy and chaotic. So if you end up being a stream game or a commentary game and you are streaming, just please turn off the in-game commentary. That is greatly appreciative. But yeah, it's super easy process. Most of you have been a part of commentary streams in the past, so you guys know how it works. One of the things that I'm most excited about working with Elite is like the group of guys that there are, right? Like the group of guys in Elite, like you guys are all seasoned, you guys are all vetted, you guys all know what you're doing, right? Like this is a league that operates smoothly top to bottom. You guys know the role, right? You guys know what's up. So I'm excited. Excited. Competition within Elite is incredible. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And as we get rolling, right? As we get rolling, and as all this stuff is popping out, I'm also down to do some creative stuff with you guys. So something I would love to do. Definitely would need the legal board with this, but I imagine if we coordinated like 8 games or something all in the same time spot on a Tuesday night, right? Like we have like 8 games all aligned to play their games at this exact same time, and then the commentary stream would not be commentary over one game, but it'll be like split screen, right? And we'll have like all 6 games like in their own little corner on the screen, and then like when one of the games get down into the red zone, like we'll flip up and like that game like full screen, it'll be like NFL red zone, but elite commentary, yeah, like I'm down to do crazy stuff like this, right? So let's do crazy stuff, okay? But like something like that would involve like a lot of hands on deck. But I mean, it can be done. It can be done. We've done stuff like this in the past. We've done stuff like this in the past, and we can do it again. So let's do it again. Let's do crazy stuff, right? But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys all checking this out. We had a huge turn up on last Tuesday, so I'm excited. Um, as for this week and what we are looking at as we dive into the league, this kind of first weekly around the league show, I just want to take a little bit of time and look at the individual divisions, right? Um, there are a lot of amazing players in this league. Most of you I know. There are a handful of you that I'm not too familiar with, but kind of looking at all of the divisions, right? Like I've got thoughts on all of the divisions. I've got thoughts on all the divisions, and we are going to go through each of the divisions, and we are going to make some predictions, and we are going to start with the AFC. Normally, if the companion app was working and Neon Sports was operational, we'd be pulling in like Neon Sports screens. Instead, we've got a screenshot from the Discord channel here listing all the divisions. It's fine. We'll make it work. We will continue to make it work until the companion app is operational. And then when the companion app is operational and Neon Sports is a go, we'll be saved. Until then, we'll figure it out, and this is us figuring it out. But we've got all the AFC divisions listed here. The first division that we have, the first division that is showcased here, is the division that was showcased during the first Tuesday night commentary stream, and that is the AFC East. In the AFC East, we've got Slow Ride, we've got South. South is kind of the showcaseness, I guess, is that a word, of the AFC. Did I say AFC South? The AFC East? I might have said the AFC South. If I did, I meant the East. We've got South. He played in the commentary stream, and we'll touch on that here in a second. Then we got Jeff, and then we have also got Jumper, right? In the first commentary stream that we had on Tuesday night, we had Seth, or not Seth, South, like English. Brad, speak English. Come on. We had South collide with Dez going into that game. My prediction for like who would come out with the win in that game was South. South did not pull it out. South did not pull out the win. He ended up getting absolutely dominated by Dez. Dez is an amazing player, very high quality player. Has won bowls in other leagues. The domination that we've seen of Dez over South, though, in that week one commentary stream, I don't believe it is indicative of the ability of South. South is a guy that you cannot count out. He is a guy that will compete every single season. He will compete, and he will compete here in Elite, here in season one. My prediction for season one of who makes it to like the playoffs, like who wins this division, who wins the AFC East in season one, right? My pick for the winner of season one in the AFC East, it is South. It is South. South is my pick for season one winner. However, there's a difference between a pick of season one winner and also who do I think like long term of this cycle will run the table in this division. Season one, I've got South. Long term through the course of the cycle, I think Jumper is going to run the table. Jumper is my guy to run the table through the course of the entire cycle. If I was to rank these four players as far as like what they will accomplish this cycle in Elite, I would put Jumper at the top, and then I would go South, and then I would go Slow Ride, and then we're gonna put Jeff at the bottom, right? We gonna put Jeff at the bottom. And Jeff, I mean, you can read into that what you want to read into it, man. Like, I would say this to you, Jeff, if you're watching this, right? Like, it's not so much like a black mark against you, you know, like you're just in a competitive division here, and I mean, don't be a Jeff. Like I it is well known that I do have a win over Jeff, right? And if I have a win over somebody, I mean that's like that's not a loss that you want under your belt, right? So we're gonna put Jeff at the bottom of this division. So long scale through the course of this entire cycle, I'm taking jumper, I'm taking south, I'm taking slow, and then we got Jeff at the bottom. Jumping down to the AFC South. AFC South, we've got P. Will, we've got Sundance, we got Gumbo, and we got Brooklyn, Brooklyn SD. I am not familiar with Brooklyn SD. Um, I'm not familiar with Brooklyn SD, so I don't feel that like I can rank Brooklyn SD. So it's just a question mark, right? It's a question mark for Brooklyn SD. I don't know what to make of them. So we are basically going to rank this between three people. Who do I think wins this division season one? I'm gonna say Sundance. Who do I think runs the table through the course of this cycle? I'm gonna say Sundance. I'm gonna put Sundance at the top, and then Gumbo and P. Will. I think if you take Gumbo and you stick him in the AFC East, I think he's like on par with Jeff. I think Gumbo is on par with Jeff. Like he's bottom feeder. Gumbo's a bottom feeder. But here in the mix of this, we are going to put Gumbo as number two, and then I'm gonna put P Will right there with Gumbo. We'll put him down like below down Gumbo, maybe above Gumbo. I don't know. Interchangeable. P Will Gumbo interchangeable. I don't see P Will or Gumbo on the same level as Sundance. Sundance is a guy. I think Sundance. I think Sundance can be a guy who is at the very top, competing with the best of the best. But I also think Sundance is extremely inconsistent, right? Like there's a couple different versions of Sundance that you can get. If you get the best Sundance possible, you got an A plus plus guy, right? However, he's not always able to maintain that A plus plus status. However, I think a half invested Sundance. I'm gonna take a half invested Sundance over Gumbo and P Will. So I'm going Sundance, Gumbo, P Will interchangeable, and then we got Brooklyn SD. Kind of as like a question mark, right? Kind of as a question mark. I think a half invested a division that had a half invested Gumbo or not. I mean a half invested Sundance with a Gumbo and P Will in there. I think that is a division that a question mark like Brooklyn could come in and run the table, right? Like if you threw me in a division right with a half invested Sundance and P Will and Gumbo, like I would be approaching that division like, okay, I've got a chance. I can win this division. Like that is what I would be thinking if I was in a division with a half invested Sundance, P Will and Gumbo, right? Like that is what I would be thinking. And I'm not good at Madden, right? However, if Sundance is fully invested, I mean Sundance is a guy that can run the table if he wants. Jumping down to the AFC West, we've got a question mark. We got Beat Writer. I'm not familiar with Beat Writer, so like Brooklyn SD, we're going to put a question mark by Beat Writer. We're going to rank this division without really factoring in Beat Writer because I'm not familiar with them. We got the other three guys in this division are guys that I am very well familiar with. We've got Dez, we've got Bread, we've got Estrada. So, who do I think is going to win this division season one? I think, right, if I did not watch the commentary stream, if I did not commentate the commentary stream, right, I think I would have picked Bread to win season one and Dez to run the table. Um, However, Dez had a very strong performance. Dez had a very strong performance in that commentary stream, and it's hard to bet against what we saw in that commentary stream. I'm gonna give it to Dez, um, Dez for season one. Who runs the table? I mean, what bread are we going to get? If we get the bread that we've gotten in the last few cycles, Dez can easily run the table. But if you've been around things historically, you know that the bread that we've seen the last few cycles, it's not the full story. If bread can find that old fire, if bread can find that old fire, the league's done. The league's done, right? If bread can find the old bread, if we can see a revival of the old bread, a resurrection of the old bread, it's done. And a lot of people have given up hope. Listen to me. A lot of people have given up hope on a resurrection, on a revival of the old bread. I have not. Bread. It's still there. It's still there, bread. I believe that the old fire is still there. And I'm calling out to that old fire, bread. Bring it back. Bring it back. Run this table. Okay? Run this table. Dez is good, but he's not. Listen, Dez is good. Dez is really good. But Dez, I do not believe, is a guy that can compete with what bread used to be. Right? And those who know, you know. Those who know, you know what I'm talking about. Dez can potentially run the table through the course of this cycle. However, if Bread can get back to what he was, it's done and over. We also have Estrada in this division. I do not think, right? Like I kind of went on a rabbit trail about Sundance. Like, what Sundance are you going to get, right? Like there's the fully invested Sundance, and then there's the half invested Sundance. I think Estrada's the same way. Like there's different versions of Estrada. There's the fully invested Estrada. The fully invested Estrada has won bowls in multiple leagues. But then there's this half invested Estrada. And not only at times is there like a half invested Estrada, but sometimes there's like a fourth invested Estrada. Right? Like there's an eighth invested Estrada. There's like the Estrada who falls off the map, and it's like, do we keep this guy in the league or do we boot him, Estrada? You know, like there's different kinds of Estradas. There's different Estradas. Like, I mean, the guy's got a lot going on, and I mean we all got a lot going on. You know, like I mean, like if you get Estrada and Estrada's fully committed, like he's a game changer. However, like you beginning to get into that Estrada who's like half invested, like he's a guy that's going to give you wins, right? He's going to give you wins. You're going to get force wins from him, and when he's invested, he's good. He's high quality. He can compete with the best. But I feel like Estrada is a guy that definitely struggles to like maintain that level. I believe Estrada will probably like take the division like once, right? Like he'll get hot, he'll get invested, he'll take the division once, and then the rest of the cycle he'll coast. So if I was to rank these guys, I would have to put Dez number one, Bread number two with like a bolded question mark, right? Because if Bread can get a return to form, like he's beyond number one stature. It's like Bread and like nobody else, right? So we've got Dez number one, Bread number two with a bolded question mark, and then we've got Estrada in italics, maybe. And then Beat Writer, kind of as the wild card. I would say out of all the divisions, I would say the AFC West with Dez, Bread, and Estrada has the most potential. Like this division has incredible potential, right? Like if Bread had to return to form and Estrada stayed hot through the entire cycle, like the level of competition between Dez, Bread's return to form, and all in Estrada, right? Like that is incredibly hard to beat. I will take that three combo probably over anybody, right? Like that is incredibly hard to beat. AFC North, we've got Taken, we've got J Mutt, we've got Emin, and we've got POS. I'm not familiar with POS, so I'm not comfortable really like grading him and ranking him. So we're just going to put a big question mark by that. Taking J Mutton Emmett. I'm not sure what to make of this division. Like I'm familiar with Taken, I'm familiar with J Mutt, I'm familiar with Emmett, and in the large scale of things, right? Like I would probably put like B minuses, right? Like B minuses potential like falling into C categories for all of these guys, right? Like if they had a Madden rating, like I would give like their like off the top of my head, I'd give them like low to mid 70 ratings, you know? And like that's not bad, but like this is like this is elite, right? Like this league is the cream of the crop. It's the best of the best. And like this division I feel like is full of like mediocre guys, right? And like that might be like cruel, right? I would say they are mediocre might not be fair. I would definitely say that these guys on the curve of things are above average. So set like saying mid to low 70s probably is not fair. Maybe we'll go in the 80s, right? Like I ultimately I would say like most of these guys like I would see them as guys who are probably above the curve of competition, right? I would say they are above the curve of competition level, but I don't think like I don't look at any of these guys and think, okay, this guy's going to run the table, right? Like I don't look at these guys and think, okay, these guys are going to make the bowl, right? Like I don't see any of these guys in that fashion. They're all guys who can compete. They're all guys who can go, but I don't think any of these guys compete at the very height of things, right? Um, who wins it season one? Man, I don't know. It could be any of them. A lot of people seem to be extremely high on J Mutt. Like I don't, from my time with J Mutt in the past, like I don't ever remember him being a threat. I don't ever remember him being a threat. I don't ever remember him being like the guy, you know. But from what I've heard, kind of talking with some people, he's had an incredible start to things. From what I hear, he won the preseason tournament, and I believe he's sitting at 2-0 right now. So it's hard to root against that. So like, who's going to take it season one? Well, I guess we'll go J Mutt. Who's going to run the table through the course of the entire cycle? I guess we'll say J Mutt, right? Like with the early success and kind of just like none of these guys really like leaping off to me. Like I guess we'll say J Mutt. So I'm going to give it to J Mutt to take season one. I'll give it to J Mutt to run the table. Um, Taken and Emin, like I see them as interchangeable, right? I would have said that I saw them above J Mutt, right? I would have put both of those guys above J Mutt, but from what I've heard, J Mutt won the preseason tournament, and J Mutt's undefeated right now in the league, unless he's lost in week three, right? I believe he won both week one and week two. I see Emin as taken interchangeable and out of bias because the Browns are just like the worst NFL franchise in the entire world. We're going to put Emin above taken. So my out of my personal bias, I'm out of my personal bias, right? Like we are going to take J Mutt to win it season one and run the table through the course of the cycle, and then we'll go Emin and then Taken and then POS with a question mark. So to reflect for the AFC East, we've got South taking season one in the East, and then we've got Jumper running the table. AFC South, we got Sundance and Sundance. AFC West, we've got Dez winning season one, running the table with a huge question mark, a bolded question mark by Bread because Bread can return to form. It's done. AFC North, we've got J Mutt taking season one and running the table. Shifting gears over to the NFC. On the NFC side of things, um, the NFC East is probably like my most like uncertain division, and I say that is I'm not really familiar with Chino. I'm not really familiar with Maine 2.0, and I'm not really familiar with Birch. Like I'm not familiar with any three of these guys. However, Frank, I am familiar with Frank. Frank, in my opinion, is the best of the best, the cream of the crop. A lot of people recognize his skill, but I feel like even those who recognize his skill do not put him in the proper tier of placement that he should be. There are very few people that I would take above Frank. So, like, to me, like, I'm uncertain about Chino, Maine, and Bridge, but what I am certain about is Frank. Like, easily, even if I was familiar with these other guys, like, I'm gonna take Frank season one. I'm gonna take Frank to run the table. So I mean, the NFC East, like the conversation is Frank and nothing else. So the other guys, like I'm not familiar with them. They don't matter. If you're one of those other guys, prove me wrong, right? And until someone else in this division proves me wrong, I'm gonna take Frank. Give me Frank. Give me Frank all day. The NFC South. The NFC South is very interesting. I would say the NFC South here may be one of the most interesting divisions for me. Tav and his Falcons, I'm not familiar with him. I am familiar, though, with Kanyu, with Alex, and with Debo. Kanyu and Alex both have trophies by their name. Debo does not, but he potentially could. I don't think he's ever like made a big push for the bowl here in Elite. However, Debo is a guy that has won bowls in countless other leagues. Debo will compete at the very highest of levels. I feel like he's always fallen short here in Elite, but he has it in him to go it all the way. He's a guy that can go all the way any season. At any point in the mix of any season, he is a guy that can go all the way. And like it doesn't matter what his like season on the like his record on the like regular season is like all he needs is that wild card spot. And if he can win that wild card spot, he can get hot, he can go on a run, and he can win it all. Alex and Kanyu, as you can see, they have won it all. They've got the trophy by their name. Who do you take in the mix of all this? Man, I don't know. I really don't know. Season one in Elite, I think I'm gonna take Kanyu. I think I'm gonna take Kanyu to run the course of the table through the mix of the entire cycle. I think I'm gonna go Alex. I feel like Kanyu at his best can beat Alex at his best. I feel like when they're at their best, Kanyu is the best player in this division. I say that without knowing Tav, right? But I feel like at their best, like Kanyu at his best, I feel like can take Alex at his best. However, I think Alex, like when I think of Alex, what I think of when I think of Alex is consistency. I think Alex is like we've looked at guys right and like my biggest like kind of slam on some guys like Sundance is like who is he going to be, right? Like what Sundance are you going to get? My biggest slam on guys like Estrada was like what Estrada are you going to get? Like I feel like when I see Alex on the owner list, like I don't look at like that name, I don't look at Alex and think okay, like this guy is going to flake, this guy is not going to compete at a consistent level. I look at Alex and say okay, this guy is going to compete through the mix of the entire season, through the mix of the entire cycle, right? Like I think Kanyu at his best can take Alex at his best. However, Alex is going to show up every single time. Alex is going to show up every advance. He's going to show up every season. He's going to show up every season. He's going to build his team. He's going to make it his own. And I think through the mix of everything, I think Alex is incredibly consistent. And I think through the mix of everything, Alex will end up running the table in the NFC South. I think Kanyu definitely will take the division maybe like once or twice, right? But I think overall, Alex will be the most consistent. I think Debo in this division, right? I think he'll be like that annoying cousin, you know? I think he'll be that annoying cousin to Alex and Kanyu. And like I don't mean that as like a slam against him, but like I feel like Debo, like if he gets into the playoffs, like it's not going to be by winning the NFC South. I feel like if when he Debo will 100% make playoffs. However, I think he's going to sneak in with a wild card spot. Right? I think he's going to sneak in with a wild card spot, and I really that's all Debo needs though. Like if he can sneak in with a wild card spot, he can get hot and run the table in the mix of the playoffs. However, who's going to win this division? I think that's a conversation between Alex and Kanyu, and I feel like saying that might not be fair to Debo. However, I've just never seen like Debo be consistent. I've never seen Debo be consistent, but he can get there, and if he gets there, he can run the table. I have full confidence that Debo can run the table. Debo is a guy, right, that I think will win win some wild card spots, and I think once he wins the wild card spot, I think he has a legitimate chance to potentially go all the way in the playoffs. I could definitely see that happen. I could definitely see a trophy by Debo's name by the end of the cycle. However, I'm gonna take Kanyu and Alex over Debo every single time for the topic of who's going to win the division. And I don't know if that's fair to Debo, right? I'll say this: I love Debo. Debo is amazing, and I think this division is just a very hard conversation to have, right? Like it is like I mean, you got two guys in there. Like Debo is a guy that can go all the way, but I mean, you got guys in there, multiple guys in there that have already gone all the way. Guys that are consistent, guys that are scary, guys that can beat anybody at any given time. The NFC West. We've got Boss. We got I don't even know how to pronounce Cardinal's name. Peppinger, Pep, Peppinger, Le Peppinger, El Peppinger, El Peppinger. Is that how you say that guy's name? El Peppinger. We'll go with El Pepe. We got Boss, we got El Pepe, we got Cobra, we got Beeman. I'm not familiar with El Pepe, so we're just going to put a question mark by him. We've got Boss. Boss is a guy that I mean I got nothing but love for Boss, but I don't think Boss can compete with the two big names in this division. We got Cobra, we got Beeman, Bayman, Bagelman. Really, like Boss, like we're just gonna put Boss on the bottom. I think this conversation is a conversation between Beeman, Beeman, Bayman, Bagelman, Bayman, Bagelman. Right? We got B, we got B, and we got Cobra. Who's gonna win season one? I'm not gonna bet against Beeman. Who's gonna run the table through the course of the entire cycle? I'm not gonna bet against Beeman. Like I'm gonna take Beeman for both answers. I'm afraid though. I'm afraid because I don't want that heat from Cobra. You know, Cobra. I very easily right without hesitancy. I take Beeman to win season one, and I take Beeman to run the table. I do that without hesitancy, without hesitating. I want to give Cobra the proper respect that he is deserved, right? Like normally, if I take a guy without hesitating, right, like it's like you're saying like the other guys in that division are not a factor. Cobra is a factor. Cobra is a very scary factor. I will say this. I think Beeman takes it season one. I think Beeman runs the table. But I will say this. Every single season, the NFC West will have two teams representing it in the playoffs. I think Beeman's going to run the table and take it. Cobra will be in the playoffs every single season. Right? Like if you are an NFC team and you know you're going to be in the hunt for a wild card spot, you can just already factor out one of those wild card spots going to Cobra. So you are going to be competing for Cobra's leftovers. So I don't know if like me saying that, like in the eyes of Cobra, is me like respecting Cobra, but I got nothing but respect for Cobra. No disrespect intended his way at all. Cobra, or right, like if Cobra was not in division with like Beeman, right? Like there are a couple guys that I put up on a pedestal, right? Like I'm never gonna bet against Frank. I'm never gonna bet against Beeman, right? Um, there's another name that I probably shouldn't bet against, but like I'm going to just to troll. But we'll get to that when we get to the NFC North. Um, right, like I'm never gonna bet against Bread when he's hot, and even when he's not hot, like I'm gonna hold out faith for like a revival of the old Bread. So I'm never gonna bet against Bread. However, like I wouldn't put like Cobra's really good, but like I wouldn't put him against those guys that I wouldn't bet against, right? So and I'm just not gonna bet against Beeman. So like I'm gonna take Beeman, Cobra. You stick Cobra in like another division, right? Like it's a different conversation, right? Like I typically would not like. There are very few people that I would like be like without hesitancy be like, yeah, I'm gonna give the division to this guy. Beeman's one of those guys that I'm not gonna hesitate. I'm just gonna give it to Beeman. So no disrespect to Cobra. The last division we have to talk about, the NFC North. We got True, we got Big Time, we got Show Cold, and we got Wood. This is a very interesting division. We've got Show Cold, right? Like we'll come back to Show Cold. So normally, so we got True, and Big Time. True can go. True can go. Um, I think if True was in another division, I think I would put more respect on his name. But I think this division maybe. I think this division is up there for I think one of the more competitive divisions. We're going to put True in the number. We're going to put True at the bottom, interchangeable with another guy. We're going to put Big Time and True at the bottom and make them interchangeable, right? Normally, I probably would have put True above Big Time, but Big Time has started hot, right? I don't know if you've seen, but Big Time has a win over Beeman, Bayman, Bigelman. Beeman, Bayman, Beeman, Bayman, Bayman, Bigelman. Big Time has a win over Beat. You heard that right. Big Time has a win over Beat. B got some heat in the mix of chat for this. I slid into B's DMs to talk to him about this. I was like, yo, B, what do you make of Big Time beating you? Right? Like officially on the record, what's your take? Is he that good? Like is this a new Big Time? Beeman just chopped it up that he was drunk and playing for devs, right? So like, I mean, made excuses, right? Like Beeman made excuses, but in the end of the day, Big Time beat Beeman. So I mean that is a huge win early on here in the cycle. Maybe Big Time capitalizes on that, right? Like maybe Big Time capitalizes on this early success, and maybe we see a Big Time who's gonna make it Big Time, right? Maybe not. But we're gonna put True and Big Time interchangeable, and then this becomes a discussion between Wood and Show Cold. I think most people would say that there's no discussion to this at all, right? Like most people, like I mean, you see the three trophies by Show's name, right? Um, Most people are like blind high on Show Cold. What if I said I've never seen it, right? Like I've always heard like Show Cold is this like uncontested Madden player. What if I said I've never seen it for myself? Like I like my time that I've been in a league with Show in the past, like I've not seen it. Like I've always heard it, but I've not seen the absolute dominance that I've been told I would see. Right? Um, my previous runs here in Elite when we were doing stuff with Elite, right? I feel like kind of like there was a small overlap between when I was in and like when show came in. So and that was really my only time with show and I was told from day one like this guy Brad, he's the real deal, but I never seen it. Right? What I did see was excuses on why I wasn't seeing what I was supposed to see. But show has never showed me what I was supposed to see. I mean, he's got the three. He's got the three. There. You see the three trophies by his name there, right? Like, I mean, that's hard to dispute. But I've never personally seen it. But I tell you what, I have seen. I have seen Wood go at the highest of levels. I've seen Wood go and win it all. I've seen Wood go all the way. I've seen Wood dominate in some of the most dominating ways, right? Like I have played like I've never been great at Madden, right? Like you match me up against like an average Joe, like I can win, right? If I go and hop into a public lobby, like I can win. But when you get into these competitive spaces and these competitive CFMs, like the level of competition is just a bar above, right? And like it's no secret, I've always struggled to compete with the level of competition within like the CFM space. And there have been a couple of times when I've played people, and like when I played them, I just felt utterly helpless. Wood is one of those guys that I've played him and I just felt utterly helpless. Like there was nothing that I could do at all. It did not matter what I did. Wood's one of those guys that has put me in that position where I just felt utterly helpless, right? Um, I think most people, if you like surveyed the entire league, I think probably like over 90% of the league would be like, yeah, Show's going to win season one. Show's going to run the table season one. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Wood is going to complicate that for Show. What if I said I believe Wood can win the NFC North more times than what Show is going to win the NFC North? Who's going to win this season? What man? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not. I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm not making a prediction for the NFC North. I'm not making a prediction for season one. I'm not making a prediction for the entire course of the cycle. I'm just going to step back. I'm going to remove my hands from this one, and I'm going to say I think Wood can. Like the answer to both of those questions: who's going to win at season one? Who's going to run the table through the course of the entire cycle? I'm removing my hands, and all I'm saying is I think Wood can. I think Wood can. And on that note, I want to thank you all for taking time checking this out. Hopefully, we get a companion app running soon. Um, until next week. Also, like we'll be back with another one of these weekly like recaps next week, and Tuesday night we will be back with commentary stream. So until then, peace.